So let's now look at Microsoft Bond, which is an alternative to Protobuf. Now there's a huge amount of overlap between a lot of these libraries, but the reason I want to cover Microsoft Bond is because it's actually a very nice library for binary serialization, and it has certain features that that other libraries don't have. For example, you can partially inspect your serialized packet and build pipelines through it. It's called bonded. So what you can do is you can just peek at the packet and figure out what the type of the packet is and send it downstream without actually deserializing and reserializing the entire packet. And that is a phenomenal feature that Bond has, and it has a very, very powerful type system. In fact, it's better than a lot of the other competitors that are more popular. So there on the screen, you can see that you can get it the same way using Vcpkg, and we'll create two Visual Studio applications. And we'll do a dealer router example. Switch everything over to C++17. And what we'll do here is we'll create a Bond file using that example from the documentation. Let's call it example.bond. Let's save it somewhere next to our projects. And the gbc.exe file, which you can find in Vcpkg, installed, Bond, x64, tools, you can simply get that gbc.exe and use it to generate your source files. Copy the source files into the project. And Bond supports C++, Java, and .NET. So once we've added the generated files, we'll take the example straight from the documentation. And first, just on the dealer side, what we'll do is we'll take the example here and we'll serialize and deserialize in the same application exactly the way they're doing. So that destination object will print out the dst.name. That's after the information has been serialized and deserialized. And there you see the deserialized string getting printed. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll take the second half, post the serialize command there, we'll take the second half of that main and we'll switch it over to the router side. So it's exactly what we were doing before. But now we'll send the serialized contents over the dealer socket. And notice that in this virtual machine, I'm setting the router identity a bit differently. It's sock.setZMQ sockopt routing ID. And that's because this virtual machine has ZMQ 4.7.0. On the other PC, we had an older version of ZMQ 4.6. So there are some minor syntactic differences there. Next thing, what we do is we get the length of the bond buffer. We do a memcopy into a ZMQ buffer and just do a sock.send zout. And on the receiving side, we simply create a router socket. Create a ZMQ message, receive the contents into that message, turn the ZMQ buffer into a bond input buffer, and deserialize that into the DST object. And there you go. The contents are received on the other end, and it's exactly the same example as the documentation, but over ZMQ. And I highly urge you guys to take a look at Bond and give it a chance. It might actually work better for you than Protobuf or some of the other alternatives.